We're sorry, but this content is not provided under your current data plan. If you would like access to Facebook and the iReadit podcast, please contact your local service provider to upgrade your access plan. Imagine reading this every time you wanted to access Reddit, YouTube, or even Facebook, all because you hadn't paid a monthly fee that is added onto your already substantial bill. This is what we potentially face in the coming months if net neutrality is not protected. Please consider lending your voice in support of net neutrality by going to battleforthenet.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the iReadit podcast, bringing you what might be your daily dose of the internet for Wednesday, July 12th, 2017. I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
Please remember, everyone, that you can help support our show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. But more importantly today, we have something much more important to talk about. Today is July 12th, and it has been the day that has been labeled as Fight for the Future. It is the day that is labeled as the day that we need to truly rise up with one another to fight for net neutrality in all of its importance. And that is what today's show entirety is devoted to the fight for net neutrality and making sure that we understand what it means and why it is important. And that is why we have our little gimmick there at the very beginning, it's because things like that could happen. The idea behind net neutrality is that without it, your service provider will have absolute control over your internet. So before we get any further than that, Nathan, how are you doing today?
It's a day, you know?
Yeah?
Yeah.
That exciting?
I would just really prefer if the day was over.
Sure. So, it's literally the only thing we're going to be talking about today, and which means, one, we will probably have a shorter show, and two, that's also how important it is. We get all of our news from the internet, from multiple, technically it all comes from Reddit, but all that information on Reddit is compiled from multiple different places, from multiple different people. And with net neutrality, we wouldn't be able, a lot of that might not be able to be grabbed by us, might not be available to us, in which case this show might not exist.
It'd be blocked behind a hard paywall.
Yep, the potential for that is complete and absolute, which is terrifying. So first, we want to talk about what net neutrality is, just for those that need a quick refresher. Currently, under Title II, or the Open Internet Act, which was put forth in 2015 by the Obama administration, it is what protects us on multiple facets from really nefarious and greedy business practices by large corporate entities. People like Comcast, Verizon, AT&T, Time Warner Cable. These are the people that want your money and in any capacity that they can get. And this is looking specifically in America. Jennifer says China anyone, and if you don't know what she's referring to, China, a lot of things are banned. You're not allowed to access Facebook. You're not allowed to access YouTube. You just can't get to them. Whatever.
Instead, you have Weibo.
Weibo, yay!
For literally everything.
Yeah, literally everything. And they,
it's very socialistic of your internet use.
Well, also, it's heavily censored and regulated, but a lot of people in China...
Yeah, they can't see bones in media. Or boners, technically.
Right. And, I do know that a decent number of people in China use VPNs and things like that to access things that they don't normally have access to, but that's very illegal and can get them in a lot of trouble. Fortunately, we don't have that problem here, at least not right now. And that's one of the...
happen, apparently.
What?
Apparently it's going to happen.
Well, there's the potential for it to happen. There are people from all over just trying to tell the FCC why this is a bad idea. Everyone is getting involved, and today was the day to try and make the largest statement as far and as wide as we could. And that is why we are also putting our heads forward, because this show relies on net neutrality immensely. Because without it, let's face it, we could easily be censored on a lot of facets because of the stuff we talk about. Because we talk about things that people don't necessarily like. We talk against these corporations, and without net neutrality, that could be censored by them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Uh, Isn't that Jennifer raises a good point? Isn't that what happened with the TV services?
saying that you used to be able to have some rabbit ear antenna, some aluminum foil, and get channels. Well, I mean, you still can actually, within a certain facet, still do that. Depending on where you are, you can get a regular antenna and still get access to your local channels, right? Presuming
You'll get you.
what?
I'm sorry, Jin's like, you'll get used to internet censorship. It's from the guy in China right now.
Yeah. Sadness. So, I mean, you still can do that, but I mean, the idea behind cable and like DSL TV, I think, is because they can deliver you a lot more TV a lot faster with, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, sure, they can still censor it, I guess. I don't know if that's necessarily what happened in the same facet. I mean, but that's a good comparison, because think of television and be like, oh, you want HBO? Well, we're going to add $10 to your bill for HBO. Oh, you want Stars? $15 for Stars. Oh, you want access to the sports channels? Where you're going to have to pay that much. Now, imagine the internet functioning the same way, except on a very similar but equally as gross level. So I'm going to throw an image up on the screen that kind of gives a pretty good example of what you could be looking at in terms of the future when it comes to your internet bill should net neutrality fall. So what you can see on the screen is, I don't know who Telco ADSL is. It might just be, you know, a made up company, but you can see where they have separated access to websites by price margin. Like, if you wanted access to things like, you know, Google, Yahoo, Flickr, those will add $5 a month to your bill. If you want access to foreign websites, BBC, Indiana Times, $5 more to your bill. Oh, you want access to any news channel like CNN or the Wall Street Journal, $5 more to your bill. If you want to be able to play games, if you want access to Steam, Origin, maybe even specific games like World of Warcraft, that's another $5 that they could add to your bill. If you want access to, you know, like YouTube, Hulu, Netflix, $10 to your bill.
You know, it's probably going to be more than fucking World of Warcraft. Is fucking, well, literally every other Blizzard game except for Diablo.
Sure. And they could do this if the current net neutrality rules are removed, including, and this is, you know, choosing what you have access to, but in some ways you might not be able to get access to something. For instance, one of the references that we use quite often is Hulu versus Netflix. You know, Netflix is larger and they have a different category, but let's just take those two other face value, Hulu, Netflix. You could have the potential of, you go to Hulu and you get...
I feel like I'm an expert in this field, seeing as how I have access to both.
Sure. You have, let's say normally you have access to, like right now you can access them both, no problem, right? Yeah. No problem whatsoever. But then let's say you go to Hulu and this image appears on the screen. Well, it wouldn't be this image. This image is a little bit more forward. It says, unfortunately, your internet service provider does not want you viewing this content. The thing is, on top of that, they could say, perhaps you should try our partner, Netflix. They could completely block access that you have to Hulu because Netflix bought access and Hulu didn't want to pay their fine, their fee, whatever you want to call it, their partnership agreement.
Please, they have enough money. They fucking just, they bleed us dry of everything. You want fucking Hulu that's really good? Or you just want Hulu? Here, it's like $6. You want better Hulu? Sure, that's like $8. But guess what? If you want Hulu that's better without fucking commercials, then it's like $12.
Sure. But that's a Hulu thing rather than being, you can get to Hulu though. If you don't want to pay that, you don't have to. You can go Netflix, you can go to YouTube.
They probably have the fucking money for it.
You could go to Vimeo,
you also
could
get
add
Hulu
Dailymotion.
with Stars, I think.
I don't know. So that's why net neutrality is important though, because it gives you the freedom to go to these places. Now, if those places as their own entity, like Tim in the chat room points out, is that the internet is not one entity. What makes the internet is every place what you're looking at is its own place.
Like a fungus.
I'm sure. I mean, think of the internet like a hotel, and each room is something different.
Right. Like
and
fungus.
Right now, the way that it works is you pay to have access to the hotel, right? Like, that's you paying your internet bill, is you get access to the hotel, and you can go into any one of those rooms that you want, Okay?
Well, almost any one of those rooms.
Right.
There's some rooms in the basement that you can only get through certain ways.
Right. So you can go into any one of those rooms you want. Now, if this changes, not only would you have to pay access to get into the hotel, you would have to pick and choose which rooms you want to get into and have to pay for each individual room that you want access to. Potentially, obviously. I mean, they could change it however they wanted.
Instead of just being able to walk into whatever room you want.
Yeah. Then you might have providers that are like, okay, well, you can have access to YouTube, but you can't have access to Facebook because Facebook won't sign our agreement and pay us money to have access to it. Or you have to pay us additional money if you want access to Facebook.
Seems like shit to me.
And it's not even just payment. They could choose to slow down access or prevent access to places purely because they want to. And the biggest problem with this is they could stifle competition. They could see that, oh, there is a local startup of an internet provider or someone, or just a startup company that
they could kill Clearwire.
That might not be a bad thing, but I mean, if
they killed themselves, really.
Tim says, do you think it will be denied access to the room or access to the floor? It could be either one. It could be both. You could be denied access to the floor, and then once you get access to the floor, you could be denied access to specific rooms. But then they could say, you know what, you're never allowed in that room because we don't like what's in that room. Because that room doesn't hold our values. That room doesn't share the same view as us. Or you're not allowed in that room over there because they're trying to build a business that would hurt our business. And they could do that if net neutrality is not upheld.
So what can we do?
Yell a lot. It's about as far as that goes. I do recommend people go to battleforthenet.com.
Sign a lot of petitions, guys.
Battleforthenet.com. Currently, what it does is you enter your information and it sends a letter for you to your congressman, and then it will what?
Or woman.
Or woman. And then it'll give you
queer foxkin.
Sure. And then it'll also give you the option to call them if you would like.
Mm-hmm.
To express what you would like.
However, don't express like a maniac, because then you get people calling you like NSA. Happened to my dad.
Yeah?
Yeah, he can be a maniac sometimes.
Oh, well. So can my dad, so this is why I don't talk to him.
Mom can attest. He's probably listening to this. I love you, Dad, but sometimes you're crazy. I guess we're all kind of crazy, really.
Jennifer wants to know when this is voted on. I'm going to have to just Google it.
Oh, man.
When is the net neutrality vote? Let's see.
It's a race, guys. Who can find it quicker?
Well, the countdown found it.
I feel like there should be a website that's just a giant countdown.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but I don't see it.
No access to Google.
You might not have access to Google if net neutrality falls. Everything I'm finding right now is just the day. Like, it's all about today. I'm not finding anything else.
Do net neutrality countdown timer.
Net neutrality.
Jen, Yahoo is the better search engine. Yeah, they're endorsed by that chocolate milk fucking company, right? Or chocolate beverage. I'm sorry, it's not chocolate milk, is it?
I'm still not finding anything. Derp? It's all talking about just the day of action, which is today, about the protest, but I don't see when the next actual vote by the FCC goes forward, because they voted on it back in May, and they voted 2-1 to start moving forward with a proposal to roll back, and then once that proposal is finished, they'll vote on the proposal to decide on whether they actually want to, go with whatever they have put forward.
Right.
But that was...
And yes, Jennifer, it is a chocolate drink.
And they might not have a date yet until the proposal is finished.
Jen says it's voted on the 17th. Is that the 17th of last month?
The round of comments is due before July 17th. After that, a second commenting round will open until August 16th. And in the second round, the public is expected to reply to comments filed during the first round. So it won't be until at least August.
Cool.
I don't know if it's cool. It still sucks.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does. It does suck that it's even on the table, but like we have until August to try and change some minds.
Well, and the other thing is that not only can they deny access to parts of the internet, slow down access to parts of the internet, make you pay to access specific websites, but they can also make it so that people that want to start an ISP company, an internet service provider, they basically can't.
Can't. I mean, they already pretty much have monopolies in certain areas.
Oh, they do, and they want to hold on to them.
Yeah, it's actually pretty fucked up.
Because currently
should be illegal.
Well, I mean, currently with the Open Internet Act, it is. Like, you have to allow people to have access to the telephone pole, which is where, you put your internet cables. And you have to provide access.
That's not where I put my internet cables.
In your ass?
No, what?
Oh,
No.
what? I'm sorry, what?
In the Ethernet port.
Oh, sure. Which is your ass?
Well, no, but...
Maybe.
Now that you think about it, it's like, can my colon download... I don't want to get a virus. Never mind.
That was really terrible. But I mean, and also right now they have to allow a full network to be made between competing companies so that people have as high of access as possible. And that wouldn't be a thing anymore if net neutrality falls.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, every little mom and pop store, they become the mob. Because they're just like, hey, you want to do something? You got to pay me for it.
Yeah.
They become the actual mob.
Mm-hmm. Jennifer says I brought that ass pun on myself. Yeah, probably.
It was assaulting.
It's a pun.
That was even worse. Jen says, imagine if you could just torrent from your buttocks.
Oh, what are you talking about? There's tons of torrents coming out of my buttocks.
Gross, dude. That's not okay. Why would you say that?
Well, I'm just saying it's peer-to-peer sometimes.
So, the only thing that I can say forward is be aware of what it is and keep track of what's happening. Like, in a lot of ways, we might take the internet for granted because it is just this open, easy-to-use thing at all times, but that could change. And at that point, like, if it's already changed, it's almost too late. Like, it would take... Like, it's taken them a year to get to the point where they're almost about to roll back net neutrality, and it would take that time or longer to move forward. Jennifer says the top site with traffic moving to calling lawmakers is Instagram right now. That's sure. I mean, it's easy to post to Instagram, and hashtags float like none other.
Kirk, you need a doctor or Jesus if that's the case.
Maybe a bit of both.
You're not wrong.
So, just be aware, and be aware that if net neutrality crumbles, the show crumbles, your access to a lot of things crumble, you won't be able to just freely do what you want.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to hear us bitch almost daily.
Jennifer says Tumblr and Reddit have gotten the most. I believe it. Reddit as a whole is going nuts right now over it because Reddit claims itself as the front page of the internet. It's where we get all of our news because there's so many people there, and you can vote up yes or no on whether you like something or not.
And all of our cats.
And all of our cats. And so if something goes all the way up, then that's what we find the internet is important because it is the front page of the internet. It's also where we get some stuff that they don't talk about in normal places. So Reddit itself would have a huge blow dealt to it if net neutrality is rolled back.
Which is funny because Reddit is just essentially like everyone shits on reposters, but Reddit is essentially nothing but reposting.
No, yeah, pretty much. Unless you created it.
Yeah.
But right now, thankfully, a huge number of companies are getting involved because as loud as we can yell, we need big companies to yell with us. Because
that's the only way things get done.
Pretty much, yeah. The people that actually have the money.
It's either big companies bitch about it or people die.
I mean, there are some that we're glad are on our side. I mean, we have people like Google, Facebook, Amazon, Reddit, Airbnb, Twitter, and Snapchat. These are massive companies with tons of money and a huge user base.
Millions of dollars.
Nathan, there's millions of people, not Nathan, Tim, millions of people visit Reddit. Millions. Although, did you know that, like, a huge portion of Reddit is from Iceland? Like, 87% of Iceland uses Reddit.
Oh, I'd believe it. They're fairly liberal over there.
Okay, what?
Have you ever gone to our Iceland?
No?
Shit's beautiful.
Although I will give a shout out to our Sweden for trying to fight the Donald over the election. Like, damn,
Man,
Sweden.
our the Sweden don't give a fuck. Our the Sweden throw down.
Our Sweden does throw down. So, luckily,
For being a fucking neutral party, like, Jesus Christ.
So, luckily, lots of people with money and power that have, you know, very well-paid lobbyists that, you know... Here's the problem, though, is that it's literally just up to the FCC. We have 3 people that make this decision.
And how many of them are corrupt right now?
2.
Ooh.
And 2-1 votes in that commission pass.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
Like, and
Real
the chairman
unfortunate that we're
is...
stuck in this situation.
The chairman's really corrupt, and the other one just does whatever the chairman does.
He's worse than Chairman Mao.
So, I don't even know who that is.
He's a Chinese figure.
Okay. I believe you. Anywho. So, Tim says, it's like the article you mentioned yesterday. It's easily biased. I mean, sure, yeah, I am biased. I don't want my internet to get shit on. But I feel there are some things that it's like okay to have a bias on, like, you know, like the negative outlook on child molesters. Yeah, that's a pretty good bias to have just in general.
It's because of a moral compass in most people.
Like, people, you know, strangling you and the access you have to open and free information on the internet. Yeah, I kind of have a bias on that. Now, which way you want to vote? I mean, sure, I have my bias, but you're open to yours. Like, if you... I have nothing against Republicans. Like, I often don't agree with them, but I don't have any problem with them as a whole. Now, there's specific people that I'm like, you're a terrible person. But realistically, like, that's fine. Jennifer says the internet has no morals. That's really true.
I feel like there's some parts of the internet that has morals. Like, for every shitty thing 4chan does, 4chan's also done some not bad things. Okay, so maybe not for everything. So for every, like, 100 million shitty things 4chan does, one time they'll do something all right.
Well, and the other thing is like, luckily with the power of the internet, you can achieve good things.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all of the... you hear often the, like, awesome GoFundMe campaigns of something terrible that happened to someone, and then the internet, all of these random strangers from nowhere is like, here's $100 grand to solve your problem.
Dude, not just that, but, like, I was on BBC the other day, and they had an article about this kid who was being bullied at school, and his mom or someone asked someone on Twitter if they could, you know, just, like, wish him happy birthday because it was his birthday and no one was visiting him because he kept getting bullied. And he got, like, 100,000 fucking celebrities to goddamn say happy birthday to him. Shit was awesome.
Yeah.
He's only 8.
Tim says you can get a college education on the internet, referencing your talks from yesterday. It's true. Yeah, you can totally do online classes. And that could also be drastically rolled back with the fall of net neutrality. Like,
I don't have that yet. It's not loaded in my thing.
Like, anything that you want to do on the internet, if net neutrality is no longer a thing, anything on the internet could no longer be a thing on the internet.
Yeah.
And the thing to remember is, like, it's like, oh, well, one, most people don't have options. Like, you don't have, like, we don't have an option in internet. We have GCI. A lot of people in other places only have Comcast, only have Verizon, only have AT&T. And I would say Time Warner, but AT&T is buying Time Warner, so you only have AT&T. And the thing is like, they are not ever in the same spot because they just hang out wherever they already have their monopoly over. And even if they were in the same spot, those big companies talk to one another to find out what the other one is doing to figure out the best way to benefit each other. It is like, competition is good, but not when the competition is being regulated by the people that are competing. Like, if you only have 2 contestants, they will do whatever is best for them.
Yeah, they're ruthless.
Kirk says ACS. Kirk, I don't know where the hell ACS provides internet to in Anchorage, because I have lived in 4 very different sections of Anchorage, and ACS didn't provide to any of them. I lived in basically Midtown. I live over on Muldoon now. I used to live over in the Berry Patch, and like Nathan lives over on Turnagain Arm, and we have friends that live over near Turpin. None of them get ACS. I have no idea.
So, like, apparently Bobby does. What Bobby does is he'll get unlimited downloads with ACS.
Not anymore.
It's okay. Well, when he had it,
yeah,
right, he would get that because he was it was really shitty internet, but it was unlimited. So he would set that up so that he would download like unlimited amounts of fucking movies every day.
Sure.
And then he would get good internet from GCI and sit there and play games with it.
Kirk says 4 square blocks, the ones right around their office. that might be right, because I don't know where they actually provide. Like,
Wait, they have an office?
well, yeah, they have their headquarters building.
Yeah, where's that?
I don't know. It's over on Telecommunications Drive, which is
really
over near like 36th and Denali.
They're on Telecommunications Drive.
Yep.
I hate everything.
What? That?
It's a pun.
You don't like it? You don't like it?
It's not a pun.
It kind of is.
No, they literally just bought a fucking street to name it Telecommunications.
Yeah, you like it.
No, I don't.
How do you not like that, but you like your terrible ass puns?
I don't know.
Like, I don't understand how those aren't the same thing.
I just don't like it.
You're the worst.
No, you're the worst. Worst.
Jennifer says apparently about 92% of Sitka is covered by ACS. Oh, so they
Oh, it's good to know, little buddy. I'm glad.
so they just don't provide to Anchorage. Got it. Okay.
It doesn't. They provide to my gecko apparently, and apparently like 92.6% of them.
So, either way though, yeah, just be aware of what's going on, and if you don't mind lending your voice to it, it's a good cause. And I'm not saying, like, it's a good cause for, like, this is for you. This is not lending a good cause to the sick kid down the street, because I know a lot of us are like, oh, I don't want to give that dollar to, St. Jude's, on top of my grocery bill. I know you all say no, most of the time at least. Every now and then you just feel just barely guilty enough to say yes. But this is about you. This is affecting you. And let's face it, we're all selfish bastards that care about ourselves. So if you care about yourself, and I don't mean in terms of a friggin' the way that Nathan does, where he's always talking about how death is right around the corner and he can't wait for its sweet embrace. He can't say that on the internet if net neutrality dies. So this is about you.
It'll be dead like me.
Damn it, Nathan. Holy shit. So go to battleforthenet.com, add your name, add your support, because we need net neutrality.
Even if you're neutral on the matter.
Apparently, Kirk says I found every place they don't service. Yay me.
Congratulations.
It's alright. Friggin' GCI has me by the balls with a pair of vice grips, so it doesn't matter anymore.
GCI has everyone by the balls with a pair of vice grips.
Man, whoever they buy vice grips from is making some serious bank.
Yeah, right? No, they have a deal worked out with them. They get free internet if they just give them free vice grips.
That's also terrible. All right, everybody. I'm not going to ask for your support today. Instead, I am going to just ask you to support net neutrality, because that's more important. Because without net neutrality, there is no show. So whether you want to support the show or not, it wouldn't matter if we don't have free, open internet.
Yep.
So, I am going to do the gimmick I did at the beginning of the show, in which I'm going to cut it off short and then play the little blurb, and then we're going to get out of here, just to let you know. Nathan, so that means shut the fuck up, okay? I love you too, sir. So, have a good day, everyone.
We're sorry. but this content is not provided under your current data plan. If you would like access to Facebook and the iReadit podcast, please contact your local service provider to upgrade your access plan. Imagine reading this every time you wanted to access Reddit, YouTube, or even Facebook, all because you hadn't paid a monthly fee that is added onto your already substantial bill. This is what we potentially face in the coming months if net neutrality is not protected. Please consider lending your voice in support of net neutrality by going to battleforthenet.com.